All right. Do you like Batman, Superman, Iron Man, or Spider-Man? I like Spider-Man, if that wasn't obvious. If you know these names, then you probably know DC or Marvel Studios. And I'd be surprised if you didn't know how these characters came to be. Comic books. Over the years, comics have been looked down upon by some. They've been categorized as not real books and children stories, but they are much more. And what better way to get into comics than visiting a comic book store and getting one for free? You have that exact opportunity every year on the first Saturday in May, which I know already happened this year. I'm a little late, sorry. But mark your calendars for May 1st, 2027, right now, so you can go next year. Now, you might be thinking, why would I care? What comics are offered? Well, I interviewed Greg, the owner of Black Cat Comics in Sugar House, about more info on Free Comic Book Day.
My name is Greg Gage, G-A-G-E. First name is Greg, G-R-E-G. What is Free Comic Day? Chaos. Free Comic Book Day is kind of a holiday for the comic industry. It's a thing that was made up years ago by a retailer and then picked up on by the distribution companies. And what they did is they would put out a couple of, maybe reprints or something like that, just to get people in, give them out for free. The cost, we do have to purchase the books, but the cost is not very high, but, it can add up when you get so many books. So it was essentially just to get new people into comic shops, give them, sort of a taste. I know that sounds like something else, but give them a taste for free so they can get addicted and come back. Yeah, it really sounds like something else. But, it is true, though. It started to be this little tiny event, really. First time 22 years ago, I guess, that we had Free Comic Book Day. There were, I don't know, maybe 40 or 50 people here. Saturday, there were, at any given point, a few hundred people in the store. Wrapping all the way around, all the way up the sidewalk, all the way over. And now it's sort of changed. It's more of a way for publishers to get out new titles and sort of, introduce people to something they have coming up, a big event or a new title or something like that. So, oh boy, I would say you've got to get here early to make the most of it. Otherwise, it's going to be really difficult for you to get what you want because there's only a certain amount of books we have. We did run out of a few titles. I had a couple of crazy people over here at 6 o'clock in the morning this year. Yeah, it was actually them. But I mean, we have people 6, 7 o'clock in the morning showing up here. We don't open until 11. And that way, not only are you guaranteed to get the books you want, but it's also kind of fun. It's just sort of camping out and, getting excited and everything. It really is like a holiday. A lot of people take off work for it. There's just so much stuff going on with it. So I would say that be prepared for crowds, for sure, and be prepared to wait a little bit. Bring water, bring water, bring a chair, things like that. So everybody gets ready for Free Comic Book Day a little differently. What I will do is I will make sure that all the tables on that side of the store are cleared. We have tablecloths on there. I'll stay, like this year I stayed until about 9 o'clock to get everything up on the tables to make sure they were ready to go. But beforehand, the tough thing is to have the comic books ready, because you need to put your stamp or your sticker or something on there. Otherwise, you're not advertising your store. So I have my awesome employees over there sticker and stamp stuff, for really like a month before. So it is a lot of preparation and a lot of work. But these guys are always up for the task and great doing it. I would say, I would think probably about 1,000 this year, which is slightly up from 50 the first year. Come to Free Comic Day. I mean, it just continuously grows. It's so hard to say because we're just packed most of the day, from 11 o'clock to about 5 o'clock. We had just people in and out, people coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. We also had writers and artists here that were signing books, and we had one or two artists that actually had a book on Free Comic Day that they were signing. So you can come in and get a free book and a free signature. I mean, how can you beat that, right? So I would say this year probably around 1,000 or so. Well, the difference between Free Comic Day and Comics Giveaway Day, honestly, is trademarking. Diamond Comics was the distribution company for years and years and years, decades really. They had a monopoly on it. They were the only ones that you could get comic books through. So they went bankrupt because it was horribly mismanaged. They were bought out by basically a venture capitalist guy. He didn't really necessarily want all that. Then they went bankrupt because he didn't know what to do with it. Liquidated everything. Free Comic Book Day was part of their assets. So another company bought that, but you have to pay to put that on there. And Comics Giveaway Day was Marvel and a few other publishers saying, yeah, we're not going to do that. We're just doing our own thing now. So I think they were trying to make their own brand with it. But after all these years, almost 30 years of Free Comic Book Day, I don't think you can just sneak something else in there and not so much take over, but coexist, because it was confusing to people. And some books were advertised on one site, some books were advertised on the other site, so there was no comprehensive bit of information for anybody to get all the books that were available. And I think that confused people, especially with Diamond coming out or going out of business, because a lot of people thought, oh, well, they're out of business, so Free Comic Day doesn't exist anymore. And they came in and were surprised that we had free comics. So basically it's a branding and a marketing thing, and I think that they need to work a little more hand in hand to get this better next year. It was the first year they did it, and it was pretty bumpy. Well, comic books are a really important part of my life. That's how I learned to read. I didn't know how to run a business before I started a comic shop. Comic books mean almost everything to me. I mean, it's when I was a kid. Yeah, I've been buying arenas since like 1974, 1975. I still have that first X-Men book that I got when I was a kid. So, it's memories, it's education, it's fun, it's just, and it's also a great escape because if you haven't noticed, there are a couple of stressful, weird things going on in the world today. So it's, nice to actually just grab something and just go away for a little bit. The main introduction to me to comics, I was 4. That's when I really remember being introduced to comics, knowing what they were, figuring out like, wow, this is really cool. I want to check these out. Couldn't read yet. I could read a little tiny bit at that point, but that taught me to read. My parents would bring back stacks of comics when they went on vacation and things like that. So I was very young when I was introduced to them. Okay, you're welcome.